morning. Happy Wednesday. I just had a mad dash bike ride, so I'm already sweating. But that's all right, it's a good thing. Good to get your blood moving, and that's exactly what we're gonna do for the next hour or so. Move around a little bit, just like we always do. We'll take our time getting into our bodies, listen very closely to what you need, and work on fine-tuning that process of letting go of what you think you should be doing and really instead tapping into what it is that your body absolutely needs. What are you craving in terms of the type of movement, the type of posture that you make? Although I'll give you some sequences and postures to think about, it's really up to you how you want to move through them. Modifications, variations, always welcome. Don't be afraid to explore, change things up, see how it works best in your body. Aside from that, when all else fails, I would say the best thing to do is slow down and breathe. Always come back to the breath. It is the foundation of the practice. It's what sets this aside from anything else when it comes to being a yoga practice, is that it is rooted and grounded in intentional, steady breath. So that's how we're gonna start. And we're just gonna begin in a comfortable seat. A little bit of a seated meditation here to get us going today. Won't be here too long. Just make sure that you're comfortable. Bring a little length into your spine. Lift up through the crown of your head. And if you're coming to your mat this morning with maybe a little too much energy, you might want to turn your palms down. If you feel like you could stand to cultivate some more energy, if you're feeling a little bit slower, or just not quite fully awake in your mind or your body, turn your palms up. Take some energy from the world around you. Let your eyes close. And then soften your eyelids and the corners of your eyes. Soften your cheekbones. The corners of your nose, the corners of your mouth. Relax your jaw. Bring a little bit of length up the back of your neck. And if it feels good, you might even just draw your chin down slightly. Continue to relax the tops of your shoulders. Feel the weight of your arms and your legs. And then start to draw your focus even deeper inward. Notice how you feel on the inside. Where's your energy level today? What's your overall mood? Remember, it's okay to answer these questions truthfully. The more honest you are with yourself, the better you can take care of your body throughout your practice. So just make some observations, no judgments, no expectations. Start to find a deeper connection to your breath here as well. Fuller inhales. Slow, satisfying, steady exhales out. Inhale so deeply that it makes you want to sit a little taller. Your exhale. Feel your body sink deeper into the mat. Try that just a few more times. Steady breath in. Steady breath out. Try one more full cycle of breath here. If you're comfortable breathing through the nose, start to move toward Ujjayi Pranayama. Steady nasal breath in and out, little constriction at the back of the throat so that your breathing pattern starts to feel even more defined, begins to sound a little bit like wind, waves crashing. Draw your hands up, bring them to your heart. Let's just pause here for a moment and drop your gaze down to your fingertips. Pausing to simply cultivate a little gratitude, to be happy and grateful for your mind and your body, happy and grateful to get on your mat and practice today. We'll be happy and grateful for one another. I'm so glad you're here. Let your eyes open. And interlace your fingers right there in front of your heart. And then you're just gonna flip your hands inside out so elbows pop out to the side and round as you press your hands away. This should feel really good after sitting up tall to try to round out your upper back. And then sit up a little bit taller, all the way up on your inhale. Good, lean to one side. Draw the navel in tight for some support. Back through the middle, lean to the other side. Straight up through center one more time. Now lift your chin. Look up, look back, bend. And exhale, release hands around behind your back. Lock them up there as well. Just open up the heart center for a moment and roll out your neck and shoulders. And twist your upper body around a little bit. Take your head as far around in a circle a few times each direction as you'd like. And then release hands back to your heart. Let's do that opening sequence a couple more times. Deep inhale right there at heart center. Lock your fingers together. On your exhale, push your hands away, pull your belly button back and round out your spine. Chin pulls to your chest. Inhale, sit tall, lengthen through the ribs. On your exhale, lean to one side. Back to the middle. And exhale the other way. Take it straight up through center, gaze goes up, arch your back now, and then release, hands around behind, catch them right there at your tailbone, lock them back up. Heart center lifts, and now if you want to add in maybe a little bow forward, go for it. Take it easy, we're just warming things up here. All the way back up, use your bandhas as you rise. Hands back to your heart, pause there for a moment. Take a full cycle of breath in. Let something go on your exhale. We'll do it one more time. Eyes open, lock the fingers together. Deep breath in, right in front of your heart. Flip the hands, seated cat stretch. Push away, round out as much as you can. Really get that spot between your shoulder blades. Then sit up tall. Pick which way you want to go and take a deep stretch. And if you want more, you can let that opposite elbow kind of bend down. Pull it towards your ribs and make that stretch even bigger. Up and around. Other side. Right back up through the middle. Gaze goes up. Now you're going to arch your back a little bit like a seated cow pose. And release. Hands go around behind. Last time here, we'll lock them up. If you haven't tried the other thumb on top yet, maybe switch it up on this last round. Heart center goes up, Baddhasta. You can stay right there, or you can take a bow on your exhale as far down as you want to go. And then slowly, right back up. Deep breath in. Okay, as you release your hands, you're just gonna rock back, get past your tailbone a little bit, bring those legs out front, and come find me in a Malasana. Boat right off the bat today. Eyes are up high, lift your heart, lift your gaze. Lift your hands and your toes up a little bit higher for 3, 2, 1. Set your feet down, stretch your arms up nice and long. Let's just come forward and start with a gentle Paschimottanasana. Just really as far down the legs as it's comfortable to go here. In the beginning of your practice, things will probably be different later, so don't worry too much about it now. Just check in with your hamstrings. How's the spine feeling? Just making a few little mental notes. And then we'll bring it up. All right, so we're going to see that Navasana forward fold a few different times today. But for now, let's move on. Tuck the ankles underneath. Come on out to hands and knees. And then just push back into your favorite kind of child's pose, whatever that is. You can go knees wide, knees together. Hands can be out front, or you can sweep your arms alongside your legs. Just take a few breaths to settle in, getting a little bit closer to the earth here. Soak up some of that sense of sturdiness, solidarity that comes from being as close to the ground as possible. And on that note, I'll let you know I did have a special request today for a grounding practice. So we're going to do lots of postures today that might not necessarily be, soft and on the easier end of the spectrum, but they are certainly things that tend to ground us, make us feel really strong, confident, and brave. And a lot of them have to do with those first 3 chakras of the body, right? Those first 3 places where we connect to the earth. Right, so come forward from your child's pose when you're ready. Bring it on up. Step your hands in, and we'll just move through a couple cats and cows. One of the nicknames for a cat-cow is actually Chakra Vakasana, which means, chakra, like the chakras in your body, and Vakra means crooked. So this posture is asking you to kind of put your chakras crooked from one another, or move them back and forth, right? Take them out of alignment. Although they are actually always aligned, there's no such thing as aligning your chakras or unblocking them. They're always energetically in your body. It's more about just tuning in, right? So that's what we're going to do. Pay particular attention to everything below your belly button here. Can you really draw your navel in, all those tiny muscles down between your inner thighs, Mula Bandha, Muladhara Chakra. And then just keep pulling that energy up through your spine, until you feel it on the back side of your heart. As you lift your chin, that's your 5th chakra there, Majudra chakra, throat chakra. And really feel it all the way up to the crown of your head. Again, just bringing some awareness to that energy. And then when you're ready for your first downward facing dog, go ahead, take it up. Lift your knees, stretch down through your spine, from the tailbone to the crown of your head. Try to line things back up. And once more, don't worry too much about your hamstrings here. They'll loosen up over time. Bend your knees if you want to. Swivel your heels. Twist your hips around. Gaze forward from down dog and take a nice simple walk up toward the top of your mat. Feet come up behind your hands. Good. Hang heavy in a forward fold. And if you're more comfortable keeping your hands on the ground, that's absolutely all right. And just stay there, keep it simple. If you want to take it into ragdoll, maybe find that same chest expansion from earlier one more time. Got lots of different options here. Release your hands back down. Swing your toes and heels together. And then we're going to do kind of a fun, different take on a sun salutation this morning. So instead of standing all the way up, let's use one of those powerful grounding poses, Katasana. Sit right back into fierce pose. As the arms come up, we'll start with some strength right off the bat. You can draw your palms together if you'd like, or you can keep your hands apart, but bring your gaze up a little bit. And then think about that line of energy, again, from the top of your head to your tailbone, just like you did in down dog. Can you feel the same line right here? Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Exhale, take a bow right back down. Good. Half lift and lengthen. And we'll keep all of this pretty standard. Step, walk, or hop back to a high plank. If you don't want a vinyasa, just hold the plank here. Otherwise, take it halfway or all the way down. If you like being close to the earth, maybe you do cobra today. Otherwise, up dog's always there for the bigger back bend, and downward facing dog on your exhale. Listen close. Gaze forward, step, walk, or jump through to a seat. So you can just cross your ankles, take a little jump through, right into that boat. Gaze goes up, we hold it for 3, 2, 1. Drop the legs down. Inhale, reach straight up. Exhale, come a little bit further out over the legs. Hold for 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring it up. And then we're going to add in a new piece right here. You're going to roll back. Now, if you don't generally, I'm just turning to the side, but you can stay right where you're at. If you don't usually go upside down and plow, you don't have to. You can just roll onto your back and bring your knees in for a quick squeeze. Katasana. This is another really good grounding pose. So is plow. So if you want, you can roll back for a moment. Just let your feet kind of tap behind you. Don't be afraid to hold on to your low back. If it's too early for you to do this pose in your practice, stay on your back and squeeze your knees for 3, 2, and 1. And then everybody move your hands to that little nook behind your knee and take 3 rocks. Up and down, rolling the spine. 1, 2, and 3. You can get a second vinyasa if you want. Or you can just roll through and step back to downward facing dog. That's where we meet. All right, so that's going to be our sun salutation. Let's do it a few more times. Gaze forward, step, walk, or hop to the top. Land on your feet. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Katasana, knees bent, reach up. We'll hold each pose for 3. Tuck your low belly in, pull those bottom ribs in tight. 2, 1, Take a dive, back down. Inhale to lengthen. Step, walk, or hop back, chaturanga. High plank is an option, cobra is an option, up dog is an option, back to downward facing dog. Gaze forward. Now we jump to a seat, or just cross your ankles, scoot right down. Once your tailbone hits the mat, lift your legs up. 3, 2, 1. Roll onto your back or roll your feet behind your head. Stay there for 3, 2, 1. 3 rocks. 1, 2, third time up. Cross the ankles, plant the hands. Take it back. Or you can skip that second vinyasa and go right to down dog. One more time. Big breath in. Get all of your exhale out. The bottom of the breath, look forward. Take it to the top. On your feet. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward. Katasana, arms reach up. Now challenge yourself this time. This is your last one, so really get in there as deep as you can go. You could pick up all 10 toes if you had to. Set them back down. Good. Squeeze your inner thighs and breathe. 3, 2, 1. Release it all. Lengthen. And move it through. So all of our vinyasas are right here in these first few sun salutations. After that, we're pretty much done with them for the day. So keep that form good all the way through. Meet me in a seat. Jump it through. Navasana. 3, 2. All right, don't forget, I did last time. Set your feet down on one. Come back up. Let's get that forward fold one more time. Paschimottanasana. 3 full exhales here. Slow your breathing down. 2, 1. Inhale. All right, now you can roll it back, knees in or feet behind for a few moments. You don't even have to go all the way to plow. If you just want to roll your forward fold upside down, you can reach your hands for your toes or wrap your arms around your legs. Just kind of hang out there. And when you're ready to rock it and roll it 3 times. On the third one, you get the option for your final vinyasa of the practice. So here we go. And then when you find your downward facing dog, exhale completely. Drop it down to your knees. And then just return to that child's pose. Sink in. We're going to rest here for about 10 breaths or so. You can stay right where you're at, or if for the last few moments of this pose you want to get a little deeper into your upper back and shoulders, take one arm, thread the needle, scoop it underneath, take the other arm and do the same thing so that your elbows cross and they're right underneath your heart center. And then just lean forward a little bit, and if you still want more, you can lift your butt up off your heels and just lay into your arms there for a moment or two. If you've got your tailbone lifted up in the air and you're able to get your toes tucked under, you can tuck your toes and then sink your hips back a little bit and stretch out all those little spaces behind your toes and the bottoms of your feet here as well. To release, take your time, untangle your arms if you need to, bring yourself on up and then just swing your knees together, sit back for a moment, toes can untuck so the tops of the feet are now down on the mat, and then just find a hero pose, real basic posture, but certainly one of those grounding poses that we don't do very often because it seems like not much is going on here. But if you sit with this pose for a few moments, all sorts of things start to happen. So just think of, once again, lengthening through the crown of the head, down to the tailbone. Find your breath. When we talk about grounding practices, like I said earlier, we're usually talking about postures that have a lot to do with activating or reimagining the first three chakras of the body. So first chakra, Muladhara chakra. This is the same place that we refer to when we're talking about Mula Bandha, right? So as you sit here with your eyes closed for a moment, think about all the tiny muscles that you squeeze when you have to go to the bathroom really bad. Those are the ones. Now, energetically, you can't really squeeze, right? But you can bring your awareness to that place. Second chakra in the body, Shavasana chakra, is the space that's kind of in between those muscles and your belly button. So, see what it feels like to bring your awareness there for a moment. Kind of like contracting your low abs a tad. And again, we're making physical kind of correlations, but energetically these are just places in the body that we're drawing awareness to. And then third and final that we're going to deal with from this point on is called Manipura chakra, and that's your navel. That's your belly button. So think about activating your navel. And just keep all of that in mind. Now imagine for a moment that everything below your belly button is completely alive. And you might even start to feel, right? Your legs are getting a little tingly, your belly is starting to heat up, everything above your navel is just soft and relaxed. Nice and cool, nothing going on up top, everything's happening in the basement here. Squeeze, 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 bring everything to life, just notice. And then consciously release all that energy. Feel the difference? Let your eyes open up. All right. So yeah, it's said that everything that happens below your belly button is all the things that keep us very connected to the earth. All the things that are very grounding, they're very basic instinct needs types of things. Your heart center, Anahata chakra, and everything above that is what gets us in trouble, right? That's where we start to get emotional. Everything that happens from the heart, the mind, all of that stuff is where we get a little disconnected. So this next series, we're going to focus on some warriors. And I just want you to think about all those things we just did. Just keep it real grounded down below. Let the top just relax. So come on out. Find a good, strong downward facing dog one more time. And then step, hop, or jump back to the top of your mat. Inhale, half lift and lengthen. And exhale, down. Knees bend, arms come up, we'll find Katasana again. So starting from our strong fierce pose in the back up just a little bit. Great. I'm going to sink in a little deeper, draw your palms together, and then take your hands into your heart and just turn on. Close your eyes again, think about that sensation. Everything below the belly button's alive. Everything up top is relaxing. Open your eyes back up, don't overthink it, just softly shift your weight into your right foot. Send your left leg back to warrior three. Breathe. Keep it all alive down below. Nice and soft up top. 2. And then you're going to soften your front knee just a little bit. Take a nice big step back. Put your back heel down on the ground. Rising straight up to warrior 1. So if you need to make a little adjustment, might even have to steer your hips in the right direction. Find your stance. It's often said that warrior 1 is shorter than warrior 2. I generally disagree. The bigger you make your warrior 1, the easier it gets. I promise you that. So take a strong warrior. Soften the shoulders. No need for any tension in your face, your neck, your jaw. Bring everything alive down below. Keep that going and sweep your hands back alongside you here. Lean out in front, squeeze. Even though your inner thighs are apart, imagine you could pull them together right here. 2, 1. Arms come back up on the inhale. Keep it alive down below. Now take it out to warrior 2. And if you need to adjust, this pose generally is a little bit bigger. So open up your hips to the side. Second chakra, Shavasana. We talked about this before. Excuse me. Below your belly button, to the place where all those Muladhara or Mulabandha places are pulling up and in. Squeeze those 2 from the top to the bottom. Pull in right there. Your hips are part of your second chakra as well, so we'll get a good hip opener later, but for now I want you to strengthen. Keep breathing. 3, 2. Anytime you feel like you want to close your eyes, go right ahead. Reverse it, take it up and back. Don't move anything below your belly button. Breathe, breathe, breathe. 2. And 1. Slowly, we'll spin the hands down. That means you're going to pivot onto your back foot. Listen close. Once your hands are down on the mat here, maybe just a little hop up with that back foot so that you can press and try to straighten out both legs a tad. Take a good hamstring, stretch, pyramid pose, whatever you want to call this. Try to keep your upper body still, letting go. Pyramid is another good grounding posture. Even though we're not connected to the earth here, you can pull that sensation of power up through your feet, all the way through your legs, right to your root chakra, right up to the middle of your body. And from there, let that sense of stability resonate through the body. And then take a look forward, and all you're going to do is just simply step your feet side by side. Exhale, fold over your legs. Drop your hips down, and let's bend the knees. Just give those hamstrings a little break for a second into a crouch and curl. In between sides, we'll take traditional Malasana. So perhaps one of the best grounding postures I know. Your hands come on the inside, and notice that when I moved my hands in, my knees popped out here. So feet are still side by side. My heels are probably not going to touch the ground. That's okay. If you are really flexible in your ankles, maybe they will. And then you just walk your hands out a little bit, sink your tailbone back a little bit, and there's kind of a perfect spot right in between the two where you can drop your chest, relax your head, stretch your hips, your spine. You can get your elbows down on the ground. That becomes pretty powerful as well. Pressing through your palms. 3, 2, 1. Lift your gaze. Walk your hands in a little bit. Lift up and get out of your knees and ankles. Feel that fresh blood rush all the way down from your hip points to all 10 toes. Wiggle them around. Right. Knees bend. Sit back, Katasana. So it's oftentimes really hard if someone asks you to teach a grounding class and then to flow, right? Because they're kind of counterintuitive to one another. So when we do a grounding class, we generally like to move really slow. Don't worry, we will flow this one time, but for this first few moments, let's just stay with a couple breaths for each movement. Find those 3 places that we talked about before. Down really low between your inner thighs. Mula Bandha to your belly button, the space in between, pull in. And then right behind the navel center, Manipura. Start to shift your weight into your left foot this time. Send your right leg back, warrior 3. Heart center drops down a little bit. All right, now can you try to keep the upper body soft and the lower body alive? 3, 2, slow step back, and then set that back foot down. All the way to the heel. Hips stay square, so do the shoulders, and then you can make any warrior 1 arm position you want. Another really grounding posture, first position warrior. Strong, steady. This pose generally makes you feel a little bit more alive and courageous. Let's make it even stronger as we sweep the hands back. Now we're going to lean forward a little bit. Right there you can feel how much you're going to pull those low belly muscles in. Breathe, breathe, breathe. 3, 2, 1. Take it back up slowly. Stay grounded. Out to warrior 2. Switch the feet a little bit. And sink right back in. As you stack up the shoulders over the hips, it might help to take your gaze to the side just for a moment, and then just simply turn your eyes back over your front middle finger. There you go. Nothing's going to change below the waistline. Reverse it when you're ready. Challenge yourself to stay in that energy. Don't give up. One more inhale. Exhale, spin the hands down. Pivot all the way down. It's going to bring you into a little low lunge there for a moment. That's when you can hop your back foot in a tad, just to get a little bit closer stance, and then work on pushing both heels toward the mat, straightening the legs, stretching all the way up the back side of the body. Even in this pose, you can feel that from the navel on down, there's some work. There's some heat, there's some intensity. Everything upstairs, up in the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. That can be loose and relaxed. Gaze forward. Step your feet up, side by side, and exhale, fold. From here, wiggle those feet out now. Instead of keeping them together, take them as far out as you can, maybe all the way to the edges of your mat or even further. Toes out, heels in. Second version of Malasana is the squat. This is the one that most of us know a little bit more intimately. Shows up a little more often. Even in this posture, notice how hard it is to keep all 10 of your toes pressing equally into the mat. Same with your heels, inner arches, outer arches of the feet. Just try to connect all those points. Give it 3 breaths. That line of energy from the top of the head to the tailbone, we're still trying to achieve one straight line, top to bottom. 2, and 1. Hands down, hips up. As you swing your feet a little closer together, take your time. Great big exhale out. We're going to flow it 1 time, then we're going to come down and do a couple of hip stretches and call it a day. So here we go. Knees bend, Katasana, arms come up, 1 breath in. Hands through your heart center. Send your left leg back, warrior 3. You can do any arm variation you'd like. Just give it a full breath. Step back. Inhale, warrior 1. Sweep the hands back. Exhale. Now make it a little bit flowier. And let that energy move all the way through your body. Back up on the inhale. You just wind it right out to warrior two. Sink deeper into the pose as you exhale. Next breath, you flow right to reverse. Hands spin to the mat. Pause. Plant the fingertips, step the back foot in, and shift your weight back. If you want to flex your front toes up off the mat, towards your nose, go right ahead. Forehead towards your shin. Breathe in. And out. Gaze up. Step the feet together. Half lift. Listen. Crouch and curl. Feet together, knees out. Just take it down as close to the ground as you can. Inhale. Gaze out. Hips up, exhale, fold. Knees bend, reach overhead. There's our inhalation to bring us up to Katasana. Hands come through the heart and at the same time drive back through your right leg. Standing on the left for warrior three, pick up your heart a little bit. Good. Exhale, step back. Warrior one. Take all the time you need to make the first breath in really long. Sweep the hands back on your exhale. Up and out to warrior two. Reverse warrior, feet butting. Spin the hands down. Little adjustment for pyramid pose, and then fold in. Gaze forward, feet step together, and exhale, fold. Widen them out a little bit, work them apart. Last thing we do is a deep squat. Get in there as low as you can for Malasana. Close your eyes, and we're going to end right here, holding this pose for 10 breaths. 9, 8, 7, 6. Focus on the space below the navel. 5, 4, 3. Crown of the head to the tailbone, nice and long. 2. And 1. Eyes open, lift the hips, stretch out the legs, just hang upside down for a breath or two here. You'll walk your feet in a tad. Half lift. One more time, you're going to crouch and curl, but this is just going to bring you down to a seat. When your butt hits the mat, one last time, both pose. Pick it up, Malasana. 3, 2, 1. Legs down, arms up. And the last time we'll take this. As promised, notice how this one definitely feels different than the first one did. Supine pigeon today, just so that we can get down onto our backs. We'll do a closing sequence from there, and then call it a day. So grab anything that you might want to have close by for Shavasana, because we're not going to come back up to a seat again. Have a sip of water if you need one. And then just let yourself roll on down. You pull the knees in when you get onto your back. everything a squeeze here for a moment. Rock that gently from side to side. Okay, option number one. Set one foot on the ground and cross the other ankle over. That's your starting place for supine pigeon. We did this pose yesterday in class, or at least some of you did. If you did, you'll know where you're going. Arms through your legs, interlaced around the back side of your bottom thigh or the front of your shin. If you want a deeper stretch than that today, you can cross your legs completely, cross out your thighs, like you're sitting down for dinner at the table, and then lift up and grab your feet. Instead, this is supine Gomukhasana, or Supta Gomukhasana, which is cow face pose on your back. So either one is just fine, or if there's something else, if you just want to cradle a leg here, do some other kind of hip stretching on your back, go right ahead. It will take about 2 minutes per side. So just relax. Come back to your breath. Feel your body start to slow itself back down. Earlier that, most of the things that happen in these first 3 chakras are very base or instinct type of things, which is true, but there's also some emotion down here as well, obviously. In particular, when you're stretching your hips. Hips and low backs go together always. And those are 2 places where if you are chronically tight in your hips or you have chronic low back pain, you know how miserable that can make things in your life. And a lot of it has to do with how we walk around as human beings. We don't do a lot of rotation in our hips. We just move very linear, forward and back, side to side. That's about it. Or the way that we sit in chairs and things like that. But on top of all of that, it is often also said that the hips are like the shocks of your body. It's like your car has shocks. Your hips absorb everything that happens to you, everything that you physically do, and everything that emotionally happens to you as well. So they can be this sort of emotional warehouse of the body. And when you're talking about chakras, people who oftentimes have a really hard time controlling their emotions, one way or the other, generally also have some hips or low back issues. It's almost always true. Not that those 2 things always coincide, but often you'll find that if you spend some time working on releasing the physical part, getting into your hips, taking care of your spine, that all of that mental stuff might not necessarily go away completely, but it definitely becomes easier to work through because there's not so much of it crammed in there. So if while you're stretching your hips from time to time you notice that for some reason you just get kind of emotional, a pretty common emotion is anger. Hip stretching makes people kind of frustrated and antsy and angry. Just try to stay with it. And then take a great big breath in. And exhale out your mouth a couple times and let it go. And then release. moment between setting up the other side. Just do what feels good. Rock it out, shake it out. And on the contrary, you might be one of those people that loves hip stretches and they always feel really good to you, and that doesn't mean that you're any more emotionally well off than anyone else. You might just have a different reaction, right? So swing everything over the other way, and we'll do a couple minutes here. This side, I'm just going to give you a little bit of peace and quiet to relax and listen to your breath. On those last 3, 4, 5 breaths here. Time is right for you. Feel pretty good about that. Release. Once again, maybe you need to rock your hips. Maybe you need to take a gentle bridge pose for a moment and just stretch everything back out. Happy baby might feel good. Sneak in your favorite spinal twist here at the end. I'll let you be the judge of how you want to do that. Just letting your body twist one side for a moment or two and then the other. You've got both sides of your twist finished up. And let's just find your most favorite comfortable place for Shavasana. And let it all sink in. You are absolutely loving where you're at and comfortable. Please don't move the muscle, just stay right where you are. If you would like to come up and finish in the seat, you can draw your knees in after you wiggle your fingers and toes a few times. Roll those ankles and wrists, and then maybe a little rock or two up, or just roll to one side. And when you do find your way up, and draw your palms to press back at your heart. We started our practice with a moment of gratitude for our minds, our bodies, our practice today, and for one another. So let's find that same moment here in your mind. And then we'll take a bow to one another. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hopping on. Namaste.